I guess it's time to start. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you've chosen to join us today. I'm Francesca Burack, Chair of the BPW International Standing Committee of Development, Training, and Employment. I think, Ursula, you have a video first, and I jumped the scene.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm very, very happy to welcome you to the first webinar of the Development, Training and Employment Standing Committee, which is under the leadership of Francesca Burack and her team, a very international group who has worked heavily on the international theme, new action through cooperation. You will hear what corporations mean, how corporations should be prepared. I think it will be a very entertaining and very interesting meeting. So thank you very, very much. I think the team has worked a long time together, and they have, as one of my executive colleagues used to say, teamwork is dreamwork. And I think you will enjoy this dreamwork. We will have now, that is the first time in our webinar history, we will also record the questions, but we will do it in a way that our data protection laws are maintained. You will write your questions in the Q&A box. Somebody of the team will read it and they will answer it. So we have, I think it's important to include your questions, but it's to protect your personal data. It will be done this way. I wish you all a wonderful hour. I am on my way to Madrid. I have participated in the exercise hour yesterday, and I know what you can expect of the group, and I'm really very, very thrilled about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, I believe you can all see my screen. So welcome again. I'm Francesca Burack, the chair of the Development, Training and Employment Standing Committee team. We're so happy that you've chosen to join us today. Our webinar, Collaboration, the Pathway to Strength, Success, and Sisterhood, was created and is being presented by this particular team. We came together as strangers, women from all around the world. And we bonded together because we had a shared vision, shared goals, and shared optimism. And we worked collaboratively and cooperatively. And we are a great example of what all of that stands for. Let me introduce you to our team. So we have Rana from Jordan, we have Yasmin from Malaysia, Nani from Spain, Francesca C. Yes, there's a second Francesca, and sometimes I think I'm talking to myself. And Francesca C. from Malta, we have Anna Rita from Italy, Adita from Croatia, Faith from Uganda, Katia from St. Martin. We have Mona and Jahan, also from Jordan, Gladys from Benin, Judy from the USA, and Angela from Australia. So collaboration is really working together harmoniously and means different things to different people. It is a working practice whereby individuals or organizations come together cooperatively for a common purpose to achieve business, organizational, personal, and civic benefits. We will share the importance of collaboration and how it can impact our work, our organization, and our lives. Women working together harmoniously and cooperatively can achieve more than working independently. Women use empathy and listening skills to improve outcomes. We use time efficiently, and we impact results. There is strength in numbers, especially numbers of women. So let's take a look at how we're going to spend our time together. So we've already had our welcome. We're going to have a very defined definition of collaboration. We're going to show you our mission and vision for this webinar, the benefits of collaboration, some common types of collaboration, and then the entire collaboration process. We're going to show you a step-by-step detailed methodology that will help you keep your collaboration on track and be successful. And we're going to show you what goes on during a first meeting. And then there are some reasons why collaborations don't work. So we're going to show you those. And we're going to finalize our webinar by giving you tips and advice. And then, of course, as President Catherine said, we will have a Q&A session. So please put your questions and answers in the box below, and Judy is going to handle that later. So again, thank you for coming. Nani, you can unmic, and I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. Hello, everyone. My name is Nani. The definition of collaboration is a concept that represents when people work together to accomplish a common goal. This collaboration can occur between individuals or groups, even between entities such as organizations or corporations or companies. When these collaborators work together, they share their skills, resources, and experiences, and then everyone benefits. Edita, I turn it over to you to unmute it, please.
Thank you very much, Nani. So we are a team on a mission with a very clear vision of what collaboration is. And our vision is to create a valuable business resource that fosters collaborative environment and inspires a cooperative mindset. We encourage creativity, diversity, and exchange of ideas as factors of business growth. We foster network building through knowledge sharing and empowerment. Whereas for our mission is with this webinar as a purpose-driven resource that not only promotes female leadership, but continuous development on personal and professional levels. It also helps in establishing meaningful business relationships and promotes companies' development through connections. Rana, I hand it over to you. You can unmute.
Thank you, Edita. This slide illustrates the benefits of collaboration, and they are as follows. People and organizations who decide to work together cooperatively usually have a similar vision to create a better world. In this situation, collaboration is the easiest and the best way to bring plans into reality. Collaboration is the main reason why organizations can develop, create better projects, and make a bigger impact. In addition, being collaborative and open to new opportunities is a way to fuel innovation and achieve success. Collaboration also strengthens your skills, makes the initiative more reliable, provides resources, experts, and more engagement in the project, which increases the ability to influence and make change. So with getting help from each other, organizations can implement their plan, gain volunteers, and money for worldwide projects. As a result, we can produce the most impact when we work together across different regions, cultures, and borders to unite and achieve a common goal. Thank you, and over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Rana. We now wanted to share common types of collaborations and examples of a success. As you can see on the screen, there are several ways to collaborate, and the common types include networks, coalitions, movements, strategic alliances, strategic co-funding, public-private partnerships, and collective impact initiatives. We have 3 examples of successful collaborations to share. They are a strategic alliance with Power Her New York, a global citizens movement with One Shared World, and networks with She Trades. Firstly, Power Her New York, an inclusive statewide network committed to securing economic equality for all New York women. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which was disproportionately affecting women, especially low-income workers, Power Her New York brought organizations together to develop a response. Through a robust process over the course of 5 months, 50 groups and experts crafted a vision for inclusive gender justice and identified 8 key areas and policy recommendations to achieve this transformation. This group continues to collaborate, working to implement the recommendations put forth in the document. Our New York City affiliate of BPW International continues to be part of this process. We have seen the benefits of this collaboration with the increased ability to influence critical change in legislation being passed and positive impacts for working women. Next, we have an example of collaboration through a global citizens movement. One Shared World is a broad and inclusive interdependence movement working collaboratively across diverse cultures, communities, ethnicities, and organizations. In May 2020, a movement of people from 120 countries across the planet initiated a global campaign and drafted the Declaration of Interdependence. This movement demonstrated the benefit of achieving success and creating a better world. Our very own BPW International member, Judy Killichan, is one of the original declaration signatories. And lastly, an example of network collaboration includes our very own organization, BPW International. BPW International collaborates with the International Trade Center to promote She Trades, to create greater opportunities for women entrepreneurs and encourage BPW members to register, connect, and trade with women-owned businesses. We now have a short video, as you can see on the screen, and to share about the She Trades Global. Thank you, Francesca.
You're welcome, Angela.
We are looking for the new businesses and new products. We are investing in the women suppliers. They are more focused on their product.
Diversity is one of the important initiatives. When you make business with the women, they are really working much more detailed and actually much more precise.
It's been terrific to meet so many women who have established their own businesses in the midst of some severe hardships. The She Trades initiative was also so inspiring. The ITC has done just an amazing job at bringing so many interesting women together.
Women entrepreneurship, especially in the developing world, is one of the core themes of Impact Investors today. It was an excellent experience, and I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to coming to the next one.
She Trade delivers activities and training that improves women's ability to run their business successfully. At the same time, She Trade works to remove inequalities that hinder women's participation in trade and foster a better trade environment for all. As you saw in that video, initially setting a goal of connecting 1 million women by 2020, She Trades has actually connected 3 million women across 30 countries and 12 hubs. The She Trade Global was due to be held again in Dubai this year, but due to the safety issues of the pandemic has been deferred, but watch this space, it will be back again. The benefits have been women expanding their network and gaining the necessary skills and training to participate in global markets. A wonderful example of encouraging and elevating the entrepreneurial spirit. In summary, we have seen in these 3 examples how the power of collaboration creates change and impacts the lives of others. There is evidence of strength in numbers and working together harmoniously. I will now hand you over to Mona.
Thank you, Angela. The slide, please. Thank you. The collaboration process. To prepare for a collaboration session, one must set goals and lay out the tone for the collaboration meeting, so that the group can then coordinate how they'll work together to achieve their success. It is then important to set guidelines and expectations for a successful conclusion of why the team decided to collaborate in the first place. A shared goal is a reason why a group of people come together to try to accomplish a certain result. A good example of a success story, as just illustrated, is the development of One Shared World's Declaration of Interdependence. Collaboration works best when it starts with a team leader who sets a tone by outlining clear and reasonable expectations and allows for an open and engaging dialogue for feedback. The team leader does need to keep the team on task and balances the relationships of the team members. Clear communication with a compelling cause sets a groundwork for expectations of the goals and the results. For any group to work well together, there must be a certain level of trust and comfort. There is a need to be flexible as you share new ideas and share discussions that could lead to open conversation, creative criticism, and conflicting ideas. In addition, leveraging the team members' strengths can better the outcome and unite the team members to get to their successful conclusion. Lastly, it is important to be transparent at any level to add value to a successful collaboration. The more informed everyone is, the better the team collaboration will be. Building relationships, trust in a community will take time and effort while you prepare for your collaboration journey. A true example of collaboration are the women sharing this webinar with you today. Next slide, please. Step-by-step collaboration methodology. Here is a more detailed outline of the methodology in the collaboration process. Number one, know your organization's strengths and limitations. Do not make commitments that you cannot fulfill. Number two, identify and select appropriate partners from your research. Number three, define the common collaboration goals and objectives that can establish ground rules within the group. Number four, establish protocols from the start of the collaboration. Define who is responsible for what, when, where, how, etc. Establish realistic organizational commitments based on the conversation within your organization. Number five, formulate a defined strategy and align that strategic capability to make collaboration work. Number six, select a facilitator who manages and maintains the meetings and keeps a focus on the common purpose. Number seven, design an effective collaboration strategy and methodology and apply that to the project. Number eight, develop an evaluation plan to keep the group focused on what is important, what is going to be measured, and whether the goals are met. Have benchmarks along the way. Number nine, share and celebrate your achievements throughout the journey. Encourage conversation to discuss what is happening, what is helping the project, and what is not. And lastly, have fun along the way. Back to you, Francesca.
Thank you, Mona. The first meeting is such an important meeting for you. Of course, before this meeting, you will want to have some contact with each other. We have just, Mona has just described this method of, this step-by-step method of how to have a collaboration. And that is the methodology that you will be using throughout your collaboration process. So when you look at the first meeting, it's really important to look at those steps, decide which ones you're using, and then make the contact. So you've done your research, you've made contact, you and your potential partner has set up an agenda and goals for this first meeting, and you've agreed on it. So now you're meeting, and the most important thing is to try to establish a relationship from the very beginning. And this can be done by offering some personal information. So your initial information can be something like, I looked you up on LinkedIn, and I see that you're interested in photography. I love photography. You know, I love traveling, and I take very interesting photos. Tell me a little about your photography. You know, what is your subject area? And then you go on from there. and you share other kinds of information. You also share the objectives now and how you're going to proceed with the agenda. There are two questions that you can ask that I think are really important in the initial meeting. One is, what is it that we can accomplish together if there were no limitations? It's really important to have a discussion like this. We can always come up with what's not going to work because of this and because of that. And that really does stifle the conversation. And it really limits the possibilities. When we started this webinar and what we were going to do, we really started out with a blank slate. And we really looked at, what do we want to accomplish and how are we going to do this? And let's not talk about, limitations. Let's just talk about our dream. So having a dream is really important. And the other thing you want to discuss is when we are successful. Notice I said when, not if. When we are successful, what would people be saying and doing? So you want to visualize the impact that you are going to have. So you're gathering information, you're going back and forth, you're having some agreements on who's going to be doing what. And now you've come to the conclusion of your meeting. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I used to leave a meeting and then think, well, who's doing what? What did we accomplish here? So it's really important that you have a conclusion summary of agreements and understandings. So it can sound something like this. So if I understand the process correctly, we are going to do a collaboration on equal pay. And right now I'm going to be doing some additional research on equal pay gaps according to ethnicity, because women get paid differently according to their ethnicity. So I'm going to be looking at the white woman paid wage gap, the Black woman's page gap, Latina, and you go down the line. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Is that your understanding of the agreement? If the answer is yes, great, you move on. If the answer is no, then you need to stop and really come to an agreement as to what I'm doing. And your part of the agreement is that you're going to be doing research on legislation and what laws have been passed that are working. Is that your understanding? Yes, great, you move on. If not, you have to come to an agreement as to what's going to happen. Then you're going to decide on your next meeting, the date, and how you're going to handle that. And who do you want to include in this next meeting? Or do you? Do you want to include another person, or do you want to be able to define this a little bit better before you approach other people and bring them into the process? And then your follow-up. There are two follow-ups that you want to do. One is with yourself, a self-evaluation. And that looks like, well, how do I think it went? And what do I need to do more of? Maybe I need to listen more. What do I need to do less of? Maybe I don't have to have so many experiences to talk about. So you really do self-evaluation and really be a little critical of it. And also award yourself, appreciate the things that you handled well. What do you want to do more of? And then you want to do your follow-up part 2. You made agreements and now you have to implement them. So get out your calendar and figure out exactly where you're going to, when and who you're going to approach, what you need to do. Calendar, calendar, calendar. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Very important. And the third follow-up is that you should both share your notes that you took during the meeting, email them to each other. So there's really 3 follow-ups, not 2. Now, all of this is fine, but what happens if collaborations, what makes collaborations not work? So there are 3 primary reasons why a collaboration isn't going to work. You thought you had mutual goals, you got together, and it's really not going to be working. So you can just express the fact that you are on separate tracks and it doesn't look like this is going to work. Now, this realization can happen at the end of the first meeting, or it could happen during your process as you're moving down the road with your potential partner. That's why it is so important that when you're doing your research, that you're coming up with more than one potential partner. And so if this one isn't going to work out, you move on to your next. Another reason why a collaboration isn't going to work is because the processes or the methodologies aren't going to work for one of the participants. It's just not working. Fine, then you need to move on. It's not a good time. You've decided that after looking at the collaboration, that maybe this isn't the best time. Maybe we need to postpone this for 2 to 3 months, or maybe we just need to not have it. And so that's another decision that you're going to make. But the most important one, and the one that usually is the one that breaks a collaboration, is the chemistry is not good. The chemistry is not good. You know, our team, we've had a lot of fun. We've developed a trust, a bond, a really big respect for each other and our contributions. And that makes this so much fun to do. But if your chemistry isn't going to work and you realize it, you have to not get involved. Collaborations and working on dreams takes work. And if you're not having fun while you're working, why bother? Find somebody else to collaborate with. This is an adventure. You want to enjoy it. This is your journey in life. Spend your time with people that you want to enjoy yourself with. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the summary of our webinar with our tips and advice. And Francesca, I turn this over to you.
Thank you, Francesca. Here are some tips and advice to ensure the success of your collaboration. Leadership. As a leader, your job is to reinforce the mission, be clear about objectives, and to keep the team focused. Each meeting should have clear agendas that are circulated prior to meetings. To develop trust and participation by all, encourage a culture of recognition. Establish good communication processes. One of the most important roles you have during any communication process is to facilitate fluid communication where all team members are able to communicate with each other. This occurs when the team establishes ground rules for operating together, and you encourage active listening amongst members. Encourage participation and contribution of ideas, and encourage innovation and creativity. Team building. The more the team bonds, the safer people feel to express their ideas and make contribution to the success of the team. Here are a few team building actions. Getting to know each other early on is important. Here are some of the ways our team members bonded very early as a team. We shared some personal information about ourselves. At the start of our meetings, we had a check-in. Our first one was sharing one of our superpowers. At another, we shared one thing we love to spend time doing. This check-in did not take a lot of time, and we got to know each other better and quicker. Additional team building activities could be to define schedules of playful education or experiential activities aimed at fostering communication and harmony of team members. These informal channels of communication allow members to build trust among themselves and encourages people to socialize with each other outside of work. It is very important to observe and correct highly rivalrous behavior. One way to interrupt that behavior is to ask, is what is going on right now contributing to our goals and agenda for today? This behavior needs to stop now. Lastly, create the right collaborative environment. When you show appreciation and publicly praise people for their contribution, they feel valued and appreciated, which leads to a willingness to contribute. It is important to be transparent and share information with everyone on the team. Keep the organizations focused on the goals and why you came together in the first place. And of course, we can't emphasize enough to share and celebrate every success. no matter how small or large it is. Back to you, Francesca.
So we have presented a webinar that showed you the benefits of collaboration. And those 3 examples of those mammoth collaborations show you how when groups get together and work together, miracles happen. We'd like to also emphasize that collaborations can happen on one-on-one situations and can happen just between, 2 different organizations. It doesn't have to be a massive movement. So I'd like to thank my standing committee team for all of your hard work. I mean, we met weekly for months. We were writing, changing words, doing this, changing the location of paragraphs. And it was such a wonderful experience. We've had such a great journey that we've decided that we're probably going to do another webinar. And if you do have a topic that you would like us to do a presentation on, please drop it into the Q&A or the chat box. Probably the chat box is better. And we'll be only too happy to do one for your topic. We also want to thank Edita from Croatia, who did our presentation slides. I think she did. We all just think she was wonderful and creative, and we thank you, Edita. We also want to thank you, Ursula, for all of your hard work in the invitation, getting us onto social media. You just did so much. Thank you so very, very much. And we also want to thank you so much for everything you do for BPW International and the website and the upkeep. It's not easy. It takes a lot of work. So thank you so much. And we want to thank each and every one of you for attending before we go into our Q&A. And we want to challenge you to think about and implement a collaboration project. You will find that with each collaboration project, we change the world a little bit. And if we all get together and collaborate, we could change this world and make it a better place. So Judy, we're going to turn it over to you now. This is Judy Killichan, the one that signed on, one of the original signers on the One Shared World Declaration of Interdependence. So Judy, we turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Francesca. Hello, everyone. We're now open for your questions. If you have a question and you did not put it in the Q&A box, please do so now. If one comes up during this question and answer session, feel free to write it in the Q&A box. I'll read each question one at a time in the order it was put in the Q&A box. When that question is fully answered, I will go on to the next. Okay, first question is, can these slides be shared so that we can discuss this with our members? Francesca, will you respond?
Oh, thank you, Judy. Yes, Joe. The webinar will be in 3 places. BPW has a YouTube channel, so it's going up there. BPW on BPW's international website, which is bpw.international.org/webinars. You'll find it there. And it will also appear on our standing committee. So if you do bpw-international.org/standing committees, our standing committee will come up. And if you click on it, you'll find the webinar there. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Francesca. We have a second question. What was something that surprised you in working together from so many different countries? And before I turn it over to you, Francesca, I just want to respond and say, in response to that question, that for me, the biggest surprise was to learn about everyone's special skill sets and expertise. Everyone in our team was so open about themselves and shared so much with everyone. Over to you, Francesca.
I was surprised. Well, I wasn't really surprised. I appreciated the vulnerability that occurred along the way. For instance, we have women on the team. And by the way, everybody on the team contributed something to this webinar. even though they're not a presenter. So I just wanted to make that clear. And some women have English as a second or third language. And so we made opportunities for those women to be able to practice their English by reading some of the information as we were creating it. And so the vulnerability was great. I agree with Judy about the skill set. And if anyone else would like to discuss any of the surprises that they had, you know, we could take 1 or 2 people. Is that okay with you, Judy?
Absolutely. I just want to also add that even though we're all from so many different countries, we all share so much in common that that was a wonderful thing to realize.
I'd like to contribute. I am like Francesca, Judy, I'm very grateful for everybody's flexibility. We are in multiple time zones, from Australia to Jordan to America. How committed and determined this whole team was to get together to make this webinar to what it is today. So you've got a remarkable group of ladies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. I have to agree with you 100% on that. Anyone else want to say something? Okay, any other questions? Let's see, I think that's it. Francesca, I'm going to turn it back to you for your announcement.
Okay, I guess we did such a great job that we've answered everyone's questions. So just so that you know, we will be ending the recording soon. And as I said, you know where to find it. There are 3 places. I want to thank you again for attending this webinar. And Ursula, we're turning it back to you. At this point, the webinar has now concluded. And thanks again, team.